Hello, everyone. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment saying where you're from and when you watched. That way, YouTube will continue to show you stories like this. Now, let's get started. Asterisk, I spent the afternoon preparing for my first contact with the thing that was hiding in this house. I wasn't sure if it was a vengeful spirit or some other undefined entity. I only knew one thing: it had intelligence. It watched me, understood me, and wanted me to stay. I placed an old wooden chair in the middle of the living room, exactly where the victims had been found dead. The tape recorder was placed right on my lap. I lit a single candle to keep the space just enough light, but still keep the darkness from enveloping. The cold feeling gradually spread from the wooden floor up my spine. As I sat down, I pressed the record button and began to speak in a calm voice, even though my heart was pounding like a drum. If someone was here, I wanted to talk. I didn't come to harm or scare them away. I just wanted to understand why these things were happening. The silence lasted for almost 2 minutes. Suddenly, the candle flickered. Even though the doors were closed, there was no wind. The surrounding air thickened, as if something was pressing me down. I heard a very soft whisper behind me. I turned my head. Nothing. I asked again, "Are you one of the 7 families who lived here?" At this moment, the candle went out completely. The room was plunged into darkness. I heard a heavy breathing in the corner, then a small voice rang out behind my ear. No, it was Ali. Froze in place. The voice was unclear whether male or female, rang out like a cold air passing through the back of my neck. I shook my hand and turned on the flashlight. The phone didn't turn on the screen. The recorder was still working. I asked again, "What do you want me to know?" Footsteps began to echo in the house from the hallway to the kitchen, and then back to the living room. I felt like someone was circling me, circle by circle, closer and closer. The voice rang out again, but this time it was clearer. "We were called. We didn't choose this place." I couldn't understand the full meaning of the words, but I knew that they weren't souls who had lived here for a long time, but people who had been sucked into this place. Maybe it was because of some ritual or curse that forced them to stay forever. I took a deep breath and asked, "Who called you guys?" There was no answer, only a soft laugh echoed from every corner of the wall. That laugh had no emotion, not happy, not angry, but empty, as if coming from an old speaker. Suddenly the window opened, even though I had closed it tightly since the afternoon. The cold wind rushed in and knocked the tape recorder off my lap. I bent down to pick it up and saw a clear handprint on the dusty floor right in front of me. It felt like someone had just touched the floor. To crawl closer to May, stepped back in fear, my heart pounding. The smell in the air changed suddenly. A stench like a decomposing corpse filled the room. I mustered up the courage to ask loudly, "Are you guys being forced to die here?" A series of sounds rang out. The tape recorder made an unpleasant screech and then automatically turned off. I stood up to relight the candle, but the fire wouldn't catch. Suddenly, I felt a hot breath right on the back of my neck. I turned around, but there was no one at that moment. I knew I had crossed some kind of boundary, the boundary between observation and intervention, between a witness and part of the story. Left the living room in a state of panic. Every step I took felt like someone was watching. Every time I turned around, I saw the light in the room dimming, then intensifying, as if something was waiting for me to return. I listened to the recording again the next morning. In it, a very clear voice said one last sentence before the machine turned off. "You've started and you can't stop anymore." That voice was no longer creepy, but carried resignation and despair, like a warning from someone who went before me, but it could also be from my future self, sent to the past. I know I can't leave this house until everything is over. I will continue to investigate. I need to know who started all this. Watch the next episode. to see what happens when I discover a secret room that has never been mentioned in any records.